Russian oligarch be eligible for a gold card?
Yeah, possibly. Hey, I know some Russian oligarchs that are very nice people. It's possible. They're not quite as wealthy as they used to be. They're not as wealthy as they used to be. I think they could afford. I think they could afford $5 million.
So
no, a lot of people are going to want to. A lot of people are going to want to be in this country, and they'll be able to work and provide jobs and build companies and pay taxes. All of those things. It's an incredible. It's an incredible thing. I mean, this is the group that is the first to hear it. Nobody's heard about it. Nobody ever thought about it. But we've been thinking about it very, very strongly over the last week. And I was going to announce it sometime next week, and I figured, why not? We have a lot of cameras blazing right now. We might as well do it now. We'll have Caroline announce it the next time.
I do not say this lightly, but I think we just witnessed the craziest Trump press conference ever. Like, I cannot even begin to describe how off the rails this was, so much so that Donald Trump was being laughed at not just by the press in the Oval Office, but his own advisors, his own cabinet, just like outwardly laughed at. And I don't even think he realized how ridiculous he sounds, because he has just lost his mind that much. It was in saying, we are going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now let's get into this first clip of Donald Trump with printed out Truth Social post. It was just so strange.
That's coming in the dikes and other means of transportation. Isn't that beautiful? Who would believe that? That's all water they could have had. I went to the governor during my first term, and I said, why don't you do this? And they said they have an environmental problem with clean water. If this water were there, you wouldn't have had those fires. You had sprinklers. They make people put sprinklers in the ceiling of a home, and they had no water in them. With this, they would have had a lot of water in them. They would have all been full. That would have had you would have had a whole different deal down there. You probably wouldn't have had a fire, but if it was, it would have been small. Would have been put out. You had the fire hydrants not working in California. So it's a beautiful site. These are canals that were built. These were all built. And you saw them for years. They were empty. Concrete. They call them the V-shapes or the half pipes.
So if you couldn't make out what those were, it was a post from Trump with images of water and California being misappropriated and misdirected, all for a political show. Like Trump trying to say that he saved California because he's redirected water. He's pushing lies about what's actually going on. But that was the start of the press conference, was him holding up pictures, like he always likes to see you words. Words aren't that easy for him to understand, and it only got weirder from there. Of course, Donald Trump brought up his favorite topic, Putin and Russia, and let's take a listen to what he had to say.
To Vladimir Putin, did he raise or did you discuss at all the possibility of a minerals deal on the Ukrainian land that Russia now controls?
I didn't discuss it, no. I'd like to buy minerals on Russian land too, if we can. The rare earth, they have very good rare earth also. They both do, I would say that, and oil and gas. Look, it's a great thing if we sell this. It's great for Russia too, because we can do deals there. They have very valuable land that isn't utilized. So something like that could take place, yeah.
In the same way that Trump always wants to appear tough and strong, which he's not, he always also wants to appear like he's making a deal. Like he's the salesman. He's moving things around. And so he's been talking about how he needs rare earth and those minerals from Zelensky if he's going to help Ukraine instead of just supporting our ally. But I think it's important to point out that some of those rare earth minerals are incredibly important in making electric car batteries. I wonder if that has anything to do with this. I wonder who needs minerals for electric car batteries, who's in the Oval Office. The corruption is just rampant. And it's also pretty clear. But that was not the only aspect of Donald Trump's Putin praise and his Russia embrace that came up in this press conference, because he is now proposing selling U.S. citizenship for $5 million a pop. And he was asked about potentially selling it to Russian oligarchs, and he just have to take a look at what happened.
Else, it's going to be very, very good. We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people. And we think it's going to be extremely successful. And never been done before or anything like this, but it's something that we're going to be putting out over the next, would you say 2 weeks, Howard? Do you want to say a couple of words about it?
What is he saying? Like, this might be the apex of just dumb stuff coming out of his mouth. I know some Russian oligarchs who are nice guys were getting rid of birthright citizenship, but you can buy it for $5 million. Like, what is happening anymore? I really can't even begin to comprehend what's going on. Like, this is the fastest. It has all fallen apart in the history of Trump. This past month has been absolutely insane, and it's hard to keep up with all the crazy. But this one might be near the top of the list. It is certainly not the most damaging, or maybe dangerous. I don't know. But to suggest this is just is insane. And I know that they're saying, like, we're going to raise a bunch of money by selling citizenship. How many people are there with 5 million who want to spend it on U.S. citizens? Like, how much could you possibly raise in revenue instead of maybe just not giving the richest people in our country? 5 trillion. Go tax cut. This is INS. It is insane. It doesn't make any sense. And so Trump decided he was going to make less sense and start talking about Canada.
Alberta is first, and if they sign on, Saskatchewan would follow, and then you go west to British Columbia. There is a movement in Canada to join us. I want to get your thoughts on that and how that's proceeding right now.
So it's true. Thank you, Brian. It's true. A lot of people in Canada are liking becoming our beautiful, cherished 51st state. They'll have to pay much lower taxes. They'll have the ultimate security. You know, they don't pay very much for security right now because they rely on us, which is really unfair to us. They make cars that we could make, and they send them back into the United States. They make a lot of things, including the sending of oil and everything. We don't need their oil. We don't need their lumber. In fact, we're going to be freeing up, and I've asked Howard Lutnick to get that done with Lee and everybody, Lee Zeldin, environmental. We're freeing up our forests. We're going to be able.
Like I said, this was just a truly insane press conference. I'm still in shock. I haven't even begun to put my thoughts together on all this. But I think what's going on here, and it's always important to point this out, is that Donald Trump understands the chaos happening and his MAGA majority in Congress trying to get a budget through. And so he's trying to take some of the attention away from that, while Mike Johnson kind of flounders around and John can't put anything together that the House would like. I think that's what he's trying to do. And so, of course, we are going to be covering all of that. And we did today with this just bad budget bill they're trying to put forth with these cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. Like, we are going to be covering that. But it's difficult to, when Donald Trump is literally trying to censor journalists that we can see right here.
Thoughts on that, and also on Air Force One. It's trending on X. People are talking about it. Get your thoughts.
Well, we're going to be now calling those shots. As you know, we won that lawsuit right there. See, the Gulf of America, which is a beautiful name. Most people agree. I don't know. It's, AP has been terrible. Look, I think they're radical left. I think they're third-rate reporters. I know the specific young lady that works on the account is terrible. She's a radical left lunatic, as far as I'm concerned. They don't treat us fairly. That's number one. And number two, they had no right to do that. This is the Gulf of America. And if you look at that shoreline, look at that shoreline. Look, from Florida, well, most of it it's called America. And vast majority, like big numbers. So I'm just admiring it as I look at it. I'm getting teary-eyed, but
Like, what is happening? I know I keep saying that, but truly what is happening? Donald Trump is going to handpick who's allowed to ask him questions, who's allowed to be in the White House, who's allowed to be on Air Force One on day one. I did apply to go to the White House and be in the press room and ask questions. CU creators are able to do so now. And I thought, great, I'd love to go in and ask Carolyn Levitt some questions. I got a couple. If you're watching this show consistently, you know, she's maybe my least favorite member of the Trump administration, but it looks like that's not happening. Looks like they're not allowing me. They're not allowing the AP. This is crazy. And it only gets crazier. Take a look at what Trump had to say right here, right?
Mr. President, can you clarify, hopefully once and for all, what your expectations are with this email to federal employees? What are you going to use that information for? And do you see it as voluntary, like OPM has said, or mandatory?
Yeah, well, it's somewhat voluntary, but it's also, if you don't answer, I guess you get fired. What it really
I'm
is,
still lost on that.
What it is do people exist? We have a
Again, it's baffling. It's ridiculous. It's insane. These people are deranged. They are dumb. It is a point that we have to continue to make. They just don't know what they're talking about. These ideas that they are proposing, they claim to be common sense. They are just incredibly bizarre. What 5 things did you do, Donald? What 5 things did you do? Gulf tweet, eat, destroy the government, I don't know, exploit our government for your own personal and financial gain. I don't know. Is that a big 5 insane? The head of the FAA union responded to Elon asking for 5 things that his workers, the people in the FAA, did. We made sure planes didn't crash into each other. These guys are a joke. They even know. Take a look at RFK Jr. right here.
See that? Trump was right about everything. It just came in. Somebody sent, I said, this was sent in by a fan. I said, I think we should make some of them, right? But we were, pretty much. You want one?
I'll pass.
Are you allowed to take one? Because
not.
he'll consider it. I know him well. He's sort of a stiff. Yeah, Brian, you're not a stiff. He's sort of a stiff guy. You know? He'll take other things, but not a free hand.
Always say yes to the president. Always say yes to the
Would
president.
anybody like one?
Mr. President, an easy question.
Trump was always right. Yeah, I don't think so. Even RFK Jr. knows that. That's a little ridiculous, and he knows ridiculousness. Oh my, what an insane press conference. I'm just still in shock. These people are crazy. We have to call them out every single day if you want to support that. As always, you can hit that subscribe button, you can leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.